We're eager to talk with you about anything that is important to you. There is nothing that is off limits. And we want you to know that there will be a perfect unfolding because who you are is vivid to us. We see you in your vibrational version. And we want you to realize that in every moment of your life experience, you have this relationship with the vibrational version of you and the focused in this moment version of you. Many people, as they hear us speaking like this, think that we're talking about non-physical and physical, or not yet manifested and manifested. But what we are really talking about is the vibrational version of you that is in sync with the whole of you and the thought that you're thinking in this moment, because they could be one and the same. You can be physically focused and in this body having a thought that perfectly aligns with the source energy part of you. And when you do, you will be living what we want to call real-time reality. In other words, you'll be up to the minute in terms of vibration with all that you have become. And under those conditions, and only under those conditions, will you feel your very best. We also want to say to you that what you are calling reality, even if you just got online and checked your bank balance, and you say, that's what it is now, 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 we say it's old news. Because this vortex of creation, this vibrational reality, this is really what's present tense. And this vibrational reality, this is what you've got to be aware of, and this is what you've got to be vibrationally up to speed with, and this is what you've got to be vibrationally in sync with, and this is what you've got to be vibrationally resonant with. This is what you want to be blended with, because this is the real time. And if you're lagging in the past, even if it is the just recently manifested past, it is old news. Can you hear that? It's old news. That's why when someone says, I am sick, we always say, no, you are not. But Abraham, look at my x-ray. Old news. But look at my blood test. Old news. But look, they've got my casket ready. Premature. Old news, old news, old news, old news, old news, because you have, because of that, created in your vortex a new version of you that if you would believe it, and if you would reach for it, and if you would find resonance with it, and if you would release the resistance, which is the only thing that is keeping you from being there, you would be the new, in the moment, up to speed, well person that you really are vibrationally. That's what Jesus knew. When you sat before him dripping your illness, he didn't look at your illness. Instead, he knew your wellness, and he knew it so powerfully that as you were in his presence, believing in what he knew to be, your illness could not abide in his vibration. And Jesus was not the only healer. There have been many, 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 many. It's just someone that you talk about more here than anyone else. So we are eager to talk with you about anything, and we want you to know that it is our desire and our skill and our intention to help you move in the direction of your vortex. What do you want to talk about? Oh, you've come with things. Most of all, we want you to relax and know that everything that you have queued up to ask, we are aware of, and we know the precise way of unfolding it in a way that you will be most likely to hear it. So whether you come to the hot seat or not, we will address you fully, for sure. If you know sort of what you don't want, which means you know sort of what you do want, but you don't do anything about lining up with it, then what you don't want grows, and what you do want grows, and the contradiction between the two gets stronger. So if you really know what you don't want, which means you really know what you do want, but you don't line up with it, then the contrast just gets stronger. We haven't said this here today. This is a perfect time to say it. With all that you've been living, the most important dynamic to understand is that you are vibrationally, in terms of source energy, which is the larger part of you, you're expanding. And as a physical being, human being who is thinking and living life, life, if you're not moving with your thoughts and therefore with your emotions in the direction of your expansion, then the crevasse between you and you gets greater and greater. And eventually it can get so great that even though you're still doing the work you came to do, you're not reaping any of the benefits of the work that you came to do, because you're holding yourself vibrationally apart from your own benefit. Where somebody else is actually seeming to receive the benefit of your struggle, but no one else can receive the benefit of what you do, and no one else can deprive you of the benefit of what you do. It's all a perceptual misunderstanding, which we think you just understood. Everything is always working out for you. And that's the thing. If we could just zap you with that, we would. We want you to know that things are working out for you. No matter how they seem, they are working out for you. It's working out for you. And as you relax and trust and yield to the benefit that is there for you, we want you to know that as you just relax and breathe and meditate and make lists of positive aspects and just do some simple things, not big hard things, just some simple things with a now conscious realization of the vortex and a willingness to go there if you can and stay there longer when you go. Just that simple new decision will cause you to relax and allow your self-discovery of so many of the wonderful things that are in the vortex. And here's the piece of this that feels so good. What's missing in your self-awareness right now is a feeling of worthiness. And you're not alone in that. A lot of people are there. And what's going to restore that worthiness to you is you finding yourself in the vortex where you're allowing the universe to yield to you so much that you've been asking for. Because when the universe yields what you're asking for, doesn't that feel worthy? In other words, when something that you want occurs to you or happens to you, doesn't it just bathe you in new warmth? Isn't it like a warm blanket of well-being just wrapping around you, you see? But you can't get there in the way that you try to get there. So what we're saying is just with some of these simple things of just trying to get into the vortex, and then once in there, the self-discovery of so much of you've been looking for is going to give you this feeling of confidence and worthiness and alignment all rolled into one. The words don't even matter. It's just going to be this feeling of well-being that you have been seeking, that you are deserving, that is huge. It's like waking up from a dream and just catching the tail end of it. And if you can catch the tail end of it and focus on it, then it will unfold into a dream that Esther could take all day long telling Jerry the dream she had last night. If she can get hold of it, he tries to distract her so she doesn't get hold of a piece of it because it can be very, 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 very detailed. It's the same sort of thing. Get into the vortex and let it unfold for you. So we've been talking about this vortex, this vibrational reality, because we want you to understand that as you know what you don't want and therefore know what you do want, even if you don't speak words to it, you have been, all of the days of this life experience and before, emitting a vibration that has been building this vortex, this vibrational reality. Sometimes our physical friends say, well, this doesn't really ring my bells that much, Abraham, because that vibrational reality, I can't take it to the bank and spend it. And we say, you can eventually if you believe in its reality. And our physical friends say, but this reality, this manifested reality is so much easier to see. Other people can see it too. And we have agreement about how much money I have in my bank account. We have agreement about what the experience or the physical wellness of my physical body is. And we say, we know. We know that your physical reality is compelling. We know that you've been doing such a good job of interpreting it through your physical senses. But we also know that every reality is preceded by a vibrational reality, and that the vibrational reality really is the present tense in terms of how things have evolved. You see, when you know what you don't want, you ask for what you do want. And when you ask, the source energy part of you becomes that newly expanded, requested beingness. So when you feel negative emotion, what it means every single time is that your life has caused you to expand, but your attention upon what is keeping you from taking the expansion. So the larger part of you has grown into this new experience, but you're dragging your feet because you're so aware of where you are. When people suggest that you surrender or let go, we think that that must be what they're talking about. Because if you could let go of the what isness, if you could let go of what is, and begin to turn your attention more and more to what you've been asking for and to who you really are, who the larger part of you has already become, in the absence of resistance, you would move vibrationally right into this vortex, right into alignment, right into fulfillment, right into allowing all things that you want to be, right into allowing the cells of your body to communicate completely with one another and with the source from which they come. If you would allow yourself to release your attention to what is and begin to focus upon this vibrational reality. So we are asking you to consider focusing yourself into a vibrational reality and therefore away from a reality. Now some say, oh, here it comes. This is what I told you. You're going to go to that weird meeting and they're going to... That meeting where that man calls his wife Abraham, it is so strange. She points at a circle on the floor and insists that it's a vortex. Tells you that everything you want is in it. But if you can feel the validity of this vibrational reality, and you can care about your alignment with it enough to try to find resonance with it, what you're going to discover is it's much easier to find vibrational alignment than you've ever thought with the things that you want. And when you do, they have to manifest. So there's two ways you can tell that you're on track with your own desire. One, things are manifesting that are pleasing to you. The other is you feel good. And what we want to suggest is that if you could just care about feeling good and not care about manifesting just for a little while, so that you're not taking score of what's manifesting and finding that it hasn't and then leaving the vortex in your awareness that what you want hasn't manifested. If you could just go to the vortex for the feeling of the alignment of being there, it is our promise to you that you will restore yourself to your natural state of being, that you will find the resources of source within your vortex, and that your vortex, this vortex of creation, will train you into the frequency of all that you have already become. And when you catch up with you, when you come closer and closer into vibrational alignment with who you really are, that's when you feel frisky. That's when you feel exhilaration. That's when you wake up and you cannot wait to put your feet on the floor and get into your day. That's when you rendezvous with friends and everyone wants to talk at once and everyone's exhilarated about what's going on. That's when an idea occurs to you, and almost in the moment that the idea occurs, a door opens that lets you know that the universe is aligning and orchestrating and gathering cooperative components. That's when you feel your power. And friends, that's when you'll discover your true worthiness, because it is in your alignment that you find your power, and it is in your power that you are able to create, and it's in your ability to create that you understand who you really are. So we're eager to talk with you about anything that is important to you. Nothing is off limits. It will be a perfect gathering and unfolding. We know that because we already had the rendezvous in the vortex. We have enjoyed this interaction immensely. You are doing extremely well. Slow going in part today, but never, ever better. There is great love here for you. And as always, we remain in the vortex.